Embodied Dharma coach and here to share a Wednesday live with you about being an impeccable healer. And this is a topic that I am really passionate about, certainly because I have experienced harm myself, and I know many clients have experienced harm from healers, guides, therapists, teachers, astrologers, shaman, you name it. And it's also something that is not being talked about that much in the astrology community. So I want to talk about it because I think that we need to have more consciousness around what it means to be a really impeccable guide, no matter what tools you're working with, no matter what resources or gifts you have. The way that we work with our clients is absolutely important and vital. Just having an intention of doing no harm, that's not necessarily enough. Now, I certainly think that having an intention of no harm is essential. But in fact, that intention is not enough to not cause harm. So we do need to be educated. We do need to be doing our own inner work. And we need to have some skillfulness around being a guide that is not going to harm or carelessly cause some sort of damage to a body and a soul. And there are a lot of different things that are required in order to be an impeccable healer. And I'm also not suggesting that we can be perfect. This is a process of growth. We grow with our clients, we grow as we share our gifts and wisdom, and it takes many, many years to learn the skillfulness of being an impeccable guide. However, in my experience, some of the most harmful practitioners I've worked with have years of experience, years of schooling or training, and yet they're missing some really important fundamental resources for not causing harm. And I've experienced harm, experienced immense harm, probably some very unusual amounts of harm by jyotishis, shaman, therapists, and healers, even yoga teachers. So it's why I want to bring this up and why we need to have some honest, open dialogue about this topic. I'll also share with you my favorite tool for healers and guides, and I'll share more about a special promotion we're doing this week as well. So, first of all, how do you know if a client is even a good fit to work with you? Because this is actually step one in not causing harm to someone. Have I done my legwork? Have I done what I need to do in order to make sure that we're a good fit to work together? Desperation or this martyrdom around I have to help everyone, or setting aside what your expertise is just because you feel like you can help someone, those aren't actually effective ways to determine if someone is good to work with you. And you need to have clear boundaries around that. You need to be really clear in this is someone that I can work with and I want to work with this person. And you have a strategy, you have clear boundaries, you have contracts. You have contracts with your clients, but you also have contracts with their ancestors and their spirit team, recognizing who is a good fit and who isn't a good fit, and being really clear in that. So you're not just taking anyone, and you're not just working with anyone. So being really clear in how you're determining is someone a good fit to work with me or not. And in terms of you working with someone else, determining if someone else is a good fit for you to work with, here are some things to keep in mind. And these are things to keep in mind for yourself as well. Are you an effective guide for someone else? Are we a good fit? So either way, if you're looking for support or if you are the support, first of all, do you have a lineage? Do you have teachers that you give credit to? This is essential. And you want to look for people who have a lineage, who give credit to their teachers. And you want to know who their teachers are. So that's important. Lifestyle. Lifestyle's very important, whether it's the lifestyle of your client or the guide that you are attracting. Do your lifestyles match? So, for example, I don't work with people who smoke ganja. I already know we're not a good fit. You cannot be living a dharmic lifestyle and clear on your path and in your soul if you're clouded. Smoking doesn't work. So that's something I'm really clear on. And I would not go to a practitioner who has a lifestyle of ganja. And I've been down that road and I'm not interested in going down that road again. So clarify the lifestyle match. Does it work for you? Is it a fit? Is this a client who is actually ready for the medicine that you have to share? Is the practitioner a good fit? Do they walk their talk and talk their walk? Now, again, it's not about being perfect, but you want someone with integrity, and you want to be someone with integrity for your clients. So making sure that there is some integrity here around your behavior, what you say you believe, what you say you do, and how you actually show up in this world and with your clients. Are you a completely different person in session with clients than out in the world or with your other relationships? Check yourself. And certainly be looking for this in practitioners that you go to. Do they care about body wisdom? Do you care about body wisdom? Are you body centered? Are you moving from a place of, I'm curious about what your body is saying? This is not about me imposing my beliefs on you or that I somehow know better than you. When I talk about being body-centered and trauma-informed, this to me has everything to do with holding the belief, the firm belief, that my client's body knows way more than I do. I couldn't possibly know more than them. And it's more about supporting my client in the self-inquiry, asking their own body for insights and wisdom. I'm just the guide, the facilitator, to remind them, come back to your body. Ask your body. Get curious within your own body. And that's what a skillful practitioner does. Always invites the client to return to their own body. Are you going to practitioners who invite you and encourage you to come back to your own body? Or is there this presumption that they somehow know more than you? Be mindful of that. Similar worldviews, really important, especially after everything we've been through over the last 2 years with the pandemic. Are you in alignment from a body perspective, from a sovereignty level? Getting curious about the beliefs. And I'm not suggesting that you have to agree on everything or, have political views that are the same or anything like that. But this has to do with compassion, kindness, understanding. And that's important. That is vital, especially in order to work through challenges of any kind. Are you doing your own grief, trauma, and shadow work? Is the practitioner doing their grief, trauma, and shadow work? So if you're seeking out a practitioner, are they really doing their grief work? I will tell you that this is one of the biggest disconnects and pains that I've experienced with every healer, every therapist, every body worker, the ignorance around grief and grief work. Some of the most ignorant practitioners I've encountered around grief are actually therapists. And when I was training in my master's work, I was working through acute grief. My mother died suddenly, and I was actually in my master's work at the time. And that's when this serious awareness around the disconnect in grief work really emerged for me on why it's become a passion of mine. I have never met a more ignorant group of people who call themselves therapists, yet had no clue how to work with grief, trauma, sudden loss. It was mind-blowing to me. And of course, at the time, I was so in the acute grief, it was hard for me to even know what I needed. And since that time, I've realized grief work and the intelligence of grief, the wisdom of grief, it's very rare to find people who are actually doing their grief work and understand the grief process. So it may be challenging to find the right people, but really asking the right questions, and also as a healer, are you doing your grief work? Are you really processing and releasing and transforming and ritualizing loss and disappointment, pain, struggles? Or are you bypassing? And our society is mostly bypassing, so we have to be really skillful in tending to our grief and our grief work. And this is also about your ancestral grief work and the collective grief and the grief that your client is bringing to you unconsciously. So we have to be skillful grief guides and understand the way that grief works and impacts the body in order to effectively work with our clients who are going to come to us with very unconscious, numbed, frozen grief. And it will show up in a variety of ways. So grief work, trauma work, shadow work, these are all essential parts of your own inner work. And you want to be looking for practitioners who are also skillful in that. And that's also a skillfulness with intergenerational trauma and how epigenetics works from a spiritual level as well as a physiological level, emotional and mental level. Are these practitioners that you're working with, are they really honest and authentic about their own story, their own personal challenges, their own lineage issues? And I would say the same thing to you as a healer. Are you really on top of your own personal mythology? When a client comes to work with me, that is the first thing we do, is to make sure that they are so clear, so solid on what is my personal mythology. Because every time you cycle up and through your karmas, and you go through the transits, these annual cycles, you're going to be touching these parts of yourself, this core personal mythology. This is what you came in with. And remember that the majority of this personal mythology is actually from the lineage, from your ancestors. We have to know what this is so that as it shows up, it's like, here's the abandonment fear once again. No matter what I do, I know that I'm going to be tending to this grief within me. And it will change, and my relationship to it will change, but I know that this abandonment personal mythology, this fear of sudden death or loss, is a core part of my personal mythology. It shows up in all areas of life, and I need compassion, gentleness, kindness, but also awareness around this part of me. That's the kind of work that we need to be doing for ourselves as healers, but also when you go to a practitioner, making sure that they're available for that they are doing that within themselves. Because if they aren't, they won't be able to show up for you fully either. The same level of compassion and understanding won't be there. And that brings me to, where do they source their information? Not just what is their training, but where do they source their information from? Lineage is important. Their own body-centered awareness is vital. Are they sourcing from an outer authority, or are they sourcing from an inner authority? Being in right relationship with the inner authority is absolutely essential in order to be an effective guide. And what we have in this culture, in this society, is way too much conditioning around sourcing from the outer authority, that something outside of my own body knows more than me, that knows better than me, that has more power than me. That is a problem. Because if you are truly an effective guide and healer, your work is to support your client in strengthening their own inner authority. You know more than anyone else about your own body and the intelligence of your own body. And often all we need to do as effective guides is to remind the client to come back. Your body knows. Let's ask your body. Let's get curious about what your body needs. Your job as an effective healer or guide of any kind is to support your client in strengthening their own inner intelligence. And I invite you to check yourself. Are you in a power position that is not in right relationship with your own inner authority? Do you believe you have the answers for someone else? Do you believe that you know more than someone else about their own body? And even though we might have years of experience, immense training, incredible awareness and knowledge, we must never believe that we know more than the client about their own body and their own needs. That is not our role. Our role is to support the client in coming back to their own inner intelligence. And I don't care what your tools are. I don't care what your gifts are. I don't care what your modalities or your training really is. That is your role as an impeccable guide, healer of any kind. Therapist, astrologer, shaman, energy worker, whatever it is, your role should be to guide your client back to their own inner intelligence and to build their own self-trust, their own body wisdom, their own body awareness, and to strengthen the inner authority. That is your role as an effective healer and guide. And if you're not doing that, you are causing harm. You are causing harm to that body and soul. And that's a problem. And I see way too much of this, and it's horrible. I've experienced it myself. And it's especially rampant in the astrology world. I have your answers. Let me make a prediction for you. No. Let me tell you what's going to happen. The highest purpose of Jyotish is bringing someone back to their own inner awareness, their own consciousness, the consciousness of their own body. That's the highest purpose of Jyotish. And that's what supports your Dharma and your Dharmic path. So we really want to be mindful how we're supporting our clients in, whatever the intention is that you're sourcing from body and bringing them back to their body, their own inner intelligence. So where are they sourcing their information from? Where are you sourcing your information from? Also, this day and age, you cannot afford to be a lazy healer. You need to be constantly doing your inner work, and a commitment to that inner work is essential. That includes unpacking things like capitalism, patriarchy, misogyny, colonialism, spiritual trauma. I think spiritual trauma is the root of all our ills, by the way. I mean, really. The severing that religion has done and spiritual traumas have done to the connection with our own soul, our own self-love, our own inner knowing. That is the root of every ill, every suffering, every pain that your client is going to experience. And if we aren't on top of that there's some root core here that is a societal trauma, we can only be so effective. So that piece is essential. First of all, doing that inner work for yourself. Then being able to show up for your client that way. And of course, when you're picking healers and guides, making sure that they're doing that work. Otherwise, it will probably not be very effective, or it might be a surface level support, but it's not really going to go to the root of the issue. Do these practitioners, and do you as a practitioner, honor the spiritual and the emotional bodies as valid? This is important. I mean, I'm going to come back to therapists, but, I can't work with a therapist if we can't go into the spiritual realms, or if I can't go deep into the emotional body and the emotional body wisdom that is my orientation. Being really clear on, are we a good fit? Are we a good match? What's important to you? What's meaningful to you? What do you know to be true? Make sure that you are attracting practitioners that are in alignment on these levels. So one more reminder here is how do they handle challenges, conflicts, and misalignments? And I'm going to put this back on you as well. As a healer, a guide, a business owner as well, you have a spiritual business. If you're seeing clients, how do you handle challenge and conflict, misalignments, when things don't work out so well, or maybe you realize it's not a good fit, or there's some conflict or challenge in the dynamic? How do you handle that? And my reminder to you is, first of all, how would you like to be treated? Secondly, what does integrity really mean to you? And how can you have integrity as well as clear boundaries? And it comes back to that original reminder that I shared, that clear contracts, and we did a class on that last week, but clear contracts from the beginning. And this is even in your sales process, your marketing process, being really clear. What am I saying yes to? What am I saying no to? Is there leaky energy around, I'll just take whoever shows up? What is the inner alignment that you have, the firm and clear contract that you have with yourself, your body, your ancestors? And ultimately, in order for us to be impeccable healers, our whole business structure needs to be rooted in our own body wisdom. What does my body say it needs? Am I honoring? Am I really in right relationship with my own body and my own body wisdom? Or am I creating this business and helping people when I'm actually resentful? Or I'm not getting my needs met? Or I'm martyring myself? Or I'm wearing myself out, burning myself out? That's not helpful for anyone. So and this is what I teach and what I share, is making sure that from start to finish, that your whole business model is rooted in your body, and that your body is informing your business. It's body and business. And everything we do needs to be in right relationship with that inner knowing. And it's a process. So this is not about being perfect. And I'll say that again. This is not about being perfect, but it's about a willingness to grow and a willingness to look at our shadow and to work through our grief, to transform our grief, to do our ancestral work, to decolonize our bodies, our minds, our emotions, our spirit, to come back to the nourishment of our own soul. That's what an effective guide and healer truly is. It's to be in right relationship with our own power, our own soul nourishment. That's Dharma. And from that place, we can not only be an effective leader and guide, but we can truly help others heal and transform as well. And we can only help our clients heal to the level that we've been able to do that in ourselves and our own bodies. So our willingness to continue to grow and transform and heal is essential in order to support our clients in their healing and growth as well. And my favorite tool, by the way, is Jyotish, Vedic astrology. I love this tool for a variety of reasons. Now, of course, it gets misused, and I have experienced harm myself. And it's one of the reasons I'm extremely passionate about sharing Jyotish from a body-centered perspective that is trauma-informed, that is also about epigenetics, honoring ancestral trauma and grief work, and supporting the body and healing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and using the chart to support Dharma in this way from a healing perspective. And doing it in a way that causes least harm. The resources and tools that I share, and also my Jyotish mini course that I'm offering this week, it's foundation. It's foundational wisdom for you to strengthen your healing practice and become an impeccable healer and guide who is really functioning, teaching, guiding, facilitating from a place of greater awareness and expanded consciousness. And starting with your own body, starting with your own inner knowing and your own healing, and then being able to offer this insight and awareness to others. And so my Jyotish mini course is a way for you to really lay the foundation for your own healing work in body and soul and on your dharmic path, and become a much more impeccable healer and guide, and to also use this tool with your clients as a diagnostic tool and a deeper understanding of what is going on with this body and soul. So this week only, I am offering the Jyotish mini course with a variety of bonuses so that you can jump right in. This is a self-paced 5-module mini course, short videos, some further resources for each module that can take you deeper into each step. 5 steps, 5 modules, simple videos, some content to keep you studying and going deeper, and a pre-recorded live class. I'm also throwing in a Jyotish chart for you as long as you have your accurate birth time. And there'll be a live class with me as well. And I'm going to support you in really using Jyotish as a tool for healing and diagnosis, as well as strengthening your own inner wisdom, your own body wisdom, and the light of your soul. So please join me this week only. I'm giving an incredible discount on this mini course with lifetime access, extra bonuses, and the first 5 people that sign up will also get a private Jyotish session with me. I don't even do this anymore. You actually have to be in my Dharma mentorship in order to get access to me and my Jyotish sessions. So this will be an incredible gift to those of you who are really wanting more support, more guidance, and who desire to really go deeper in your healing work and to support your clients in a much more holistic way. And I'll look forward to seeing you inside the Jyotish mini course. And if you are ready for this, go ahead and type heal in the comments below, and I will personally follow up with you and give you all the details. Just know that this Friday is the end of this promotion. So you must sign up by Friday in order to get access to all of the bonuses, the discount, and be one of these first 5 people to jump in and get a private session with me. So do join us. Type heal below for all the details. And I want to encourage you to keep going and keep growing and hold this intention of being an impeccable healer. Stay with the intention of least harm, but also commit to doing your inner work and continuing to grow and transform and heal you and your lineage so that you can support your clients in doing the same. I'll see you soon and looking forward